Many ask, when will Russia finally break? Well, it is breaking now. It all starts with the basics. And something very basic is breaking fuel. Export bans, prices hitting records, and now more stations going empty, and a lot of them are closing down for good. This isn't just cars, it's food, taxis, farms, winter heat, public transportation. In minutes, I'll map where shortages are spreading, the hidden bill for households, and the rationing. They are already happening. This is turning out to be the biggest fuel crisis Russia has ever seen. How far will this crisis go? And who pays for that? Stay with me. Howdy, howdy, friends. Welcome to Inside Russia. My name is Konstantin, and this is the YouTube channel where usual Russia is explained by the unusual Russian. As usual, you will not find any BS, lies, or propaganda here. Instead, you will find only truth, common sense, and logic. And let's start this very interesting conversation today. Wow. Just wow. This is quite the grand picture happening in Russia. Many people, well, I don't even know where to start. Many people ask me in the comments in this channel and in live streams, when will Russia finally collapse? They say, you and other creators have forecasted the collapse of Russia for, a long time. But when will it actually happen? When will we'll be seeing that? Well, the collapse is happening right now. My answer to all those who are asking is open your eyes wider and see the collapse happening. Now, in my eyes, economic collapse is when the state stops showing up and people, instead of living, making their dreams come true and pursuing happiness, start surviving. I've seen people surviving before, not living. Back in the 80s, the USSR was collapsing. Things were pretty darn bad. Now, I remember you know what? Let me just tell you in the real life terms what is the collapse. It's when buses don't come, schedules become rumors, banks close their doors, ATM say no cash, and when you try to pay with your cash, with your card instead of cash, card fails. Apps time out. Water runs brown, and there is no water in the faucets in your faucet when you try to open it. There is no heat in the winter, and it's very very cold, and you're freezing, and your kids get sick because of that. Things like that. Fire trucks arrive tomorrow instead of now. Ambulances don't come. Clinics close early and operate mostly without doctors. Workers don't get paid, and the retirees waiting from the state for their pensions, they don't receive it on time. The pensions are delayed by months. This is what I call collapse, and I've seen that happening. I saw that in the late 90s, and it was pretty bad. Now, the collapse is when rules remain on paper, but nothing works on time. The collapses don't happen over time. It takes a very long time for them to happen. Just take the USSR. It took a couple decades to develop the collapse. Now, in my eyes, we've seen the collapse happening in Russia for the past 3 years. Only it started out in 2022, and it started slowly. It has taken so much time, and finally, we're at the point where things, well, we're seeing the sights of in front of our eyes, and things started going very, very fast. Now, I have a proof. I have a personal story to tell you from a person I know in Russia, and this is what happened literally day before yesterday. He or she, and I'm not going to tell you whether it's he or she. I don't want to give up any clues about that person. So anyway, that person told me 2 days ago that the situation, what is happening in a company where, let's say, he is employed. He works remotely for a company that is in Russia that sells fertilizer to mostly farmers to all over Russia, and it's located in a very central Russia, not too far from, let's say it's Volgograd. Not Volgograd, but let's say it's not too far from Volgograd, okay? It's very center of Russia, of the central part of Russia. I don't want to reveal my source's location, but it's close. Now, the company uses a marketplace, a Russian equivalent of Amazon, to sell fertilizers to customers, usually small farmers, like, small companies. Orders come in hundreds of packages, and each package is either 10 or 20 kilos. Usually, a farmer or a store for further resale orders 2 metric tons. The more you buy, the less you pay. It's cheaper by large numbers, large orders. So now the company uses small trucks to deliver orders. A truck like this, and that's very normal and common. There are millions of trucks like this one in Russia. They usually contract a few local regular transportation companies. So basically, they reach out to one of the companies when the order is placed, and the company delivers fertilizer. Most customers are usually at the south of Russia. That's where the biggest farming region of Russia is. And last week, one transportation company, for the first time ever, refused an order to deliver fertilizer from Volgograd to Krasnodar. Volgograd and Krasnodar are not too far apart from each other. They're about 450 miles or around 700 kilometers. The reason given by the transportation company: the drivers can't refuel their trucks in the south. So it's one company refused the order, then another one, then they all refused the orders. Now, this company that sells fertilizer went to a marketplace. There's a marketplace for trucking companies, and they placed an order. No one picked it up. Now, the seller of the fertilizer decided to raise the compensation to the transportation companies to pay more for the delivery. But you know what? No luck. No one picked up the order. All orders that are trucking companies in around Volgograd province, and I'm pretty sure it concerns other centrally located provinces in Russia, they deliver to Moscow or Moscow province. There's still gasoline and diesel fuel there, and deliveries are shipped there fine, transported, everything. The customers get their orders in Moscow. in St. Petersburg and in around Moscow. But there are big problems in the south of Russia, and the transportation companies openly say, hey, we're not going to deliver there because we simply cannot refuel our trucks. This fuel crisis is developing with the speed of light. Everyone who's asking, like, when is it going to happen? Open your eyes, please. Now, the first shortages, the first problems with gasoline and diesel fuel were first mentioned in August, on August 20th, to be precise. And there were 4 provinces of Russia facing problems, long lines and at gas stations. First, there weren't any shortages or anything like that. So, Crimea, Rostov province, Rostov-on-Don, and 2 Far East provinces, the Pacific side, part of Russia. That's August 20th. 7 weeks later, we are seeing the full-blown fuel crisis all over Russia. On top of that, there's understanding that this isn't anywhere close to its peak. Rather, it's just the beginning. Now, here's what happened in Russia, why this crisis has developed. There are 2 major reasons. Well, there's one reason and major. Another one is big. Well, war has finally hit the bottleneck, refining. The war has finally come to the soil of Russia. The war has finally knocked on Russians' door. The Russian government has finally let the Russians pick up the war bill. By late August, drone strikes had disrupted at least 17% of Russia's refining capacity. Now the reports are about 25%. That is a quarter of all capacity, oil refining capacity of Russia to produce fuel, gas and diesel. Think about it. Quarter, okay? The number of oil refineries hit kept climbing in September and October. Now, I am using 2 official Western sources for this information, and I've also used numerous independent local news sources. So the official Western sources are Bloomberg and the Reuters. So Bloomberg counted at least 15 refineries attacked. Some analytics say 16 plus since August. And my personal count, 18 as of yesterday. I counted 18 oil refineries hit by October 6. The net effect of that, production is down, and it shows at the gas stations, the queues and the rationings. Now, there is the second reason, and that is increasing wholesale prices. They have been increasing they started increasing long before the Ukrainians started attacking Russian oil refineries. For months, the Kremlin kept pump prices calm, so-called calm, on paper, while wholesale prices ran away. And I mentioned a few times in my crazy news reports and Wednesday economic reviews about that. There was a disbalance between prices at the gas stations and wholesale prices. But that was even before the drone strikes began. And when the refineries started going down, independents couldn't raise prices because of price control. And on top of that, they couldn't even get their fuel delivered from big oil companies. They buy from wholesale market, and Russia has very few oil sellers, wholesale sellers. They are Rosneft, Lukoil, huge oil companies that own extraction of oil and refining of oil. So they sell gas, they sell the final product. And then what started happening in September, independent companies, independent gas stations, and small chains of networks of gas stations started paying to get fuel delivered, but they paid, their fuel is not getting delivered because the big companies, they keep their money. That's fraud, basically. They keep their money, but they use whatever they have in stock, whatever they sell to market for their own gas stations, because each of those huge oil companies have own network of gas stations. There are hundreds of them all over Russia. So they take small independents' money, but they don't deliver the goods. They don't deliver fuel. So guess what happens? Many small independent pumps just closing the doors. They're closing their businesses. That's why you see so many small gas stations dark. Crimea is the champion for closed gas stations, and there are different reports, unofficial reports from Russia that collectively over 400 gas stations have been closed. I believe that number. And I think it's just the beginning. The number will be rising. In Crimea, authorities flat out froze prices and started rationing gas. One person cannot pump more than 30 liters per, one pump per one car. And that's a little around less than 8 gallons. Now, I'm going to name you a few names you most likely will recognize. Rязань, Nizhny Novgorod, Samara, Volgograd, Yaroslavl, Orsk, Kirishi. Those are big Yaroslavl. I've said it. Those are big oil refineries that have been hit and taken offline. Some of them have been taken offline, not entirely, but just parts, because oil refinery is a huge facility, huge, and you can't really take it out all at once. For example, Kirishi have been hit twice in the last week, and right now it's operating at 75% of its capacity. But it's a huge, huge loss because Kirishi is Russia's number 2 largest oil refinery. So 18 in total. I have placed some footage of refineries getting hit, not here, not in my Friday Crazy News reports I just mentioned. If you want to see real footage, go to Telegram channel of Inside Russia. YouTube does not allow footage like that when drones hit a facility and there's huge blow up. YouTube censors. Telegram doesn't. So I place graphic videos onto my Telegram channel. So go check it out. You will find links down below, and I'm going to place another link as soon as I'm over with this live stream in the pinned comment. So check it out. You don't have to become a member of Inside Russia Telegram channel, although it'd be nice. That's where I do a lot of announcements of upcoming live streams. So if somehow you don't receive it from YouTube, you can receive it from Telegram. But check it out for the videos. Every hit of a refinery forces weeks of repair, and each restart is very fragile. Now, where is the shortage of gas hitting hardest right now, biting the worst, so to speak? Now, there are two channels of information: official channel and unofficial channel. If we speak in officially, it's the Far East, Crimea, and the southern provinces of Russia. also Nizhny Novgorod. Um, the official media show persistent gasoline gaps. Crimea moved to rationing. Again, it's 30 liters per a car per fill up. And the prices, the local government froze the price. So basically, the independent gas stations just closing by dozens. Across Russia, more than 10 regions report supply disruptions and long lines. That's official statistics, data, whatever, comes from Russian propaganda. The latest update, real updates, the real information that comes from the ground, there are over 25 provinces of Russia that have reported troubles with gasoline. It's in some provinces, certain gas stations sell only to commercial trucks. They don't sell to people, passenger cars. In some, there is gas, but a limited amount, and there are long queues. And in some, there's shortages, no gas. The worst sign in my mind was that Moscow, Russia's capital, the showcase of the country, the facade, that everything is always perfect in Moscow. Moscow reported gas shortages. In two gas stations of Lukoil, that's Russia's giant oil company, who owns hundreds, perhaps thousands of gas stations throughout Russia. On two of their gas stations, they were signs that there's no gas. That's bad. And the latest update today, October 7th, the Urals region of Russia. If you look at Russia's map, that's far away from the south, far away from the European part. That's right in the middle of Russia. The Urals region of Russia has joined the shortages. Now, I want you to check this out. Sverdlovsk region, that's the city of Yekaterinburg. Okay, that's... The residents of Sverdlovsk province complained of fuel shortages at gas stations. Now, these reports come from people, and this is it's a local media. It gets reported from, by real people, local Telegram channels, local websites. It's not as censored as the big media that is financed by the state. So there are some pieces and beats of truth here and there. So that's what they're saying. Residents of Sverdlovsk province have complained of fuel shortages gas stations. Again, a familiar picture. Some stations are dispersing no more than 20 to 30 liters. That's rationing. And other gas stations have run out of gas entirely. There are two local medias reporting that. It's My City and I believe it's 66. It's a Telegram channel. So this is the article in the local media. Fresh from the oven, October 7th. They give names here. Tamik gas stations. Signal Ural is reporting that. There is also another outlet reporting the same thing. And I want you to pay attention to the very last portion of, it's actually both reports. Now, I love this one, okay? People reporting from the ground that there are restrictions and shortages at not everywhere, but in quite a few of gas stations. Yet at the same time, the provincial officials come out and say, the regional officials, they say that the region has sufficient fuel reserves. That's the Regional Information Policy Department officially making a statement. According to the information from major fuel suppliers, there is no shortage in the region and there are sufficient reserves. There are no interruptions in gasoline supplies. Nice. And people are reporting that there are. Okay? In my previous reports, and I've done 2 reports on gas shortages in Russia, I said a number of provinces experiencing shortages or problems. First, it was 4 provinces. Later, it was 20 provinces. And again, the reports came from official Russian propaganda. The data came from the official Russian propaganda. But now I am changing that. Now it's absolutely safe to say that it's not about the number of provinces any longer. It is the system crisis Russia is facing. All provinces, sooner, very soon, rather sooner than later, will be facing this problem, fuel shortages. Now, Kremlin, what does the propaganda say about the shortages? Kremlin's playbook so far is this: to extend the gasoline export ban through until the end of the year. Now, it is no secret that a lot of Russian companies who produce gasoline, they sell it overseas, export to different countries, China, Turkey, and other countries. Well, no more, because it's been banned. They're trying to increase supply for the domestic market. They're doing everything they can. Now, they're trying to impose a partial diesel export ban, mostly on resellers. They are saying the situation is under control. I just showed you the example. If you open any Russian newspaper or tune into any Russian TV program, the propaganda says, yes, there are some troubles on the horizon, but everything is under control. No worries. Citizens, be calm. There's plenty of gas. Everything's going to be all right. Now they quietly pulling in barrels from Belarus, which quadrupled gasoline shipments to Russia in September. Not too many reporting that, but Belarus has started supplying more gasoline and potatoes to Russia. it's a shame, Russia is out of gasoline and potatoes, and Belarus is helping, saving Russia's, saving Russia, These measures, they don't really fix things. They buy time, but they don't rebuild damaged units. How do they rebuild damaged units? I don't know. Now, I had a big live stream answering questions, which were sent to me in the community posts and in the comment section. Q&A of Inside Russia for October. And one of the questions was, how are they going to rebuild the damaged units of oil refineries? It's a very complicated process to build or rebuild, because it involves many foreign companies, Western companies, the holders of so-called processes, the licensors. So each process, oil to be refined goes through many processes, desalinization, removing different chemicals, breaking down into fractions. There are thousands of processes. That's why if you look at the oil refinery, you'll see huge facility with bunch of pipes. That's where the processes happen. Tons of tanks and pipes. And Western companies own those processes. They developed them, they finessed them, and they sell them. And in order to buy the license and equipment, you got to go to the ones who created it. Most likely to Texas, to Germany, and it was not a problem before. But now all those Western companies left Russia 3.5 years ago. You cannot go around those manufacturers and owners of licenses because you can't go to China and say, "Hey, Chinese, buy them for us," because not too many oil refineries in the world, and definitely not too many in Russia. Just a few dozens. And the producers, the manufacturers, they will know exactly where they sell the products to. So no technology, no equipment, and no authorized personnel. It is a big mystery for me how they repair oil refineries at this point. They are slow, definitely slow. They have managed to put a part of the damaged units back online, but it's taken them a longer and longer time. Now, it's one of those things I'm keeping my eyes open and monitoring very closely because great interest to me how they are fixing the units, how they're replacing the damaged equipment. Now, who pays first? Before I tell you that, I'd like to take this opportunity and thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of Inside Russia community. Thank you for liking, subscribing. Thank you for sending me messages, praying along with me, and sending me love. Thank you for your coffees, buymecoffee.com. Thank you for your Patreon support and PayPal. I'm still demonetized. I have no clue if I ever gonna get demonetized again. But you have my promise, despite all the pressure from KGB, from Russian state, from Google. I continue going forward. I continue giving you reports from Russia. I continue telling you the truth. You have my word for that. Thank you very much. Now, who pays first? Certainly not the state, not the Kremlin, and not Russian army. Russian army gets supplied as much fuel and gasoline as it needs. It's the households and the real economy who pay. And they're paying now. And this is what I'm saying. Open your eyes and see what's happening in real life. People cannot get their cars refueled, and companies cannot operate because, they need to move things. They need to buy supplies. They need to ship products. How can they do that with no diesel or gas? Diesel is food. It's tractors in harvest season. It's grain trucks. It's cold chain and regional buses. When diesel tightens or jumps in price, you feel it in tomatoes, in your milk, in bus fares before you see it at the pump. Independent gas stations in small towns close. Farmers delay deliveries. Farmers cannot harvest their entire crops. Taxi and ride hail surge pricing sticks. And that's exactly what my contact fertilizer client, the company that sells fertilizer, runs into. Transport firms refusing jobs because they can't be sure they can refuel their trucks in certain parts of the country. This is who's paying the price right now. This is the demise. Now, the very fresh example, just a few minutes before I started this live stream, I saw in the news feed in Rostov-on-Don, there is a huge crisis in public transportation. The prices are up for fuel, and the companies who provide services, they have become unprofitable. They are demanding to raise fares. And the local government says no, because we don't want social unrest. That's something I'm going to be keeping my eyes open. I will report more on that particular story in tomorrow's Russia's Economy Review that I do every single Wednesday. Please tune into that. Now, how bad is it? At this point, how bad? People are getting angry. It is too hard to say what is the economic effect in rubles, in dollars, at this point, because this crisis has started happening just 7 weeks ago, right? We will see the results in a couple months. For example, that seller of fertilizer, if it doesn't supply to its large client base in the south of Russia, probably would lose half of sales. That's direct economic effect, okay? But now what we're seeing is the two things. First, official propaganda is underplaying it, keeping it down. Everything's fine. Yes, there are troubles, but you know what? It's all under control. Don't you worry. Russian people, the state is taking care of you. And Putin is our czar. Everything is fine. Putin is the geopolitical genius. Look what's going on in the world. And Russian economy is going strong. That's the usual song of the Russian propaganda. Now, there's a lot of reporting of increasing troubles from the ground. So that's what I called local independent news reporting in Telegram and on internet. And people are getting angry because the propagandist picture is perfect, but when you come at the gas station, it's a completely different picture. There are two realities. Well, which reality do you believe? The reality at the gas station or the reality that you hear on TV? So people are getting upset, and Z-patriots are getting angry as well. And I want to show you one of Z-patriots. And he recently came out with a long tirade for about 3 minutes, where he's saying that basically things are bad. He is admitting there are shortages all over, and he's saying, oh my goodness, he's worried that the problems with the gasoline, he fears that the fuel crisis will bring down the already troubled Russian economy. Yeah. I see the concern in his eyes. Do you? And then for 3 minutes, he explains that what fuel means to Russia, to Russian economy, to Russian army, to continue in waging a war in Ukraine, and everything is at risk now. And this guy is not happy, he's upset, he's calling for different actions and so forth. Well, he's talking about industries and trouble and all of that. Oh, come on. That's the person who's been calling, and just like him, a legion of Z-patriots just like him, they all been calling for exactly for this for years. They did reports, they wrote books, they made videos demanding that Russia takes over Ukraine, does blitzkrieg. And they were saying that, come on, bring the Western sanctions on. Russian economy is strong, it'll just get stronger. Okay, Ukraine has the tiniest army that is a joke. All we need is to crush it. Their dreams are coming true right now. Okay? Their appeals are now being brought to life. What are they complaining about? But they're not happy. As it turns out, what they were asking for 3 years, more than 3 years now, it doesn't smell so good, you know? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Well, they don't think so, okay? That's the problem. They think it's just the Ukraine that needs to be hit. Ukrainian power plants, Ukrainian pipelines, roads. But when Ukrainians give them their own medicine, that doesn't taste well, okay? They are getting upset. Why aren't they happy? Z-patriots, be happy. Now, the next. How far can it go? I have a few scenarios for you. Well, 3 scenarios to be precise. Scenario A. I call it patch and limp. If strikes ease and repairs hold, bans on exporting Russian fuel plus Belarus volumes keep cities supply, but rationings pop up in hotspots. Not everywhere in Russia, but here and there. Okay, queues come and go, and in general, situation is under control. Well, of course, Russians will have to stand in queues, in lines to get gas, but that's a sacrifice that obviously all Russians need to make, as the Kremlin says. And this is the optimistic scenario. That is something that officials are selling everyone. Scenario A, number 1. And scenario B, number 2, rolling shortages. Strikes continue at today's tempo. Repairs lag and winter demand shifts. More regions copy Crimea's rationing system they're doing right now. Independent gas station owners close down their gas stations, so independents shrink. Logistics cost bleed into food inflation. And that's where many regions are at now. This is what's happening exactly now. That's scenario B. And the scenario C is systematic squeeze. Multiple big refineries stay down simultaneously. Runs stay low. Export bans extend again. And rationing formalizes nationwide by category. For example, ambulances, buses, public transportation, army, it's category top priority, and companies are priority number 2, and people priority number 3, something like that. We're not there yet, but I think this is where Russia is going to. There's not going to be the pretty scenario number 1, where everything is fairly under control. Now, this is exactly what they will get in Russia too. Nationwide rationings, shortage of fuel, and the strikes will continue because there are no reasons to stop the strikes at this point. Again, we're not there yet, but the risk rises with every single fresh hit. What we have by early October: oil refineries hit. The officials say 15, I say 18. Major refineries, major facilities. The first hits started in early August, and now it is early October. Things are unfolding fast. Capacity disrupted. Now, Reuters reported that by the last day of August, 17% of all capacity of Russia to refine oil products were taken offline. Now, some some experts are coming up with a number of 25%, and this is what I tend to believe. At this point, more refineries are offline, and if to take that number 17% at the end of August, now we are well into 25%, perhaps even more. 25%. That's just insane. Strikes on refineries happen every single night now, and basically I start my day from opening the news feeds and see which refinery or which oil facility was previous night was striked again. There are a few things I am watching next. Number one, it's repair cycle. Now, I'm looking at the large oil refineries: Kirishi, Ryazan, Yaroslavl, Samara, Volgograd, definitely Volgograd. Um, will the units, damaged units, restart cleanly, or they will fail again? How efficiently Russians will repair the units? Number two, I'm watching for policy creep. Do the gasoline and diesel restrictions get extended into 2026? I believe they will, but we will see soon. The Russian government will try to patch up the domestic market, but they will hit the exporters of fuel because every ban brings losses to companies who export because prices are higher outside Russia. So I'm watching number three. I'm watching for importing. Do Belarus and others keep filling the gap, or that process will slow over time? Now, don't forget that in order to buy gasoline, refined products, gasoline and diesel from Belarus, you gotta pay. The gas costs money. Now, Russia has been selling gas and diesel fuel. Now it's buying. Okay, where does the money come from? That's a good question. Also, there are bits and pieces of information. Russia is actively searching for fuel in Kazakhstan, which is unlikely, my opinion, but we'll see how that turns out. So, two questions to watch here is: will Belarus hold supply and continue supply Russia fuel, and where does the money come from? And thing number four to watch: rationing map. Where does Crimea model spread to? Which regions of Russia? Eventually, it'll spread nationwide to all provinces, but in the coming weeks, who is next? Is it the Urals? We just saw reports today. Is it Rostov? Is it Stavropol, Krasnodar? What? And of course, the last number five is to watch is what's going on with the transportation industry now. How are they going to deal with shortages of diesel fuel? That's amusing. Now, I would like to remind everyone that the three sources I use are the two Western sources, Bloomberg and Reuters, and then I use a bunch of different local medias that report from inside provinces, from the ground, just like I presented you the evidence that in the Urals, in near Yekaterinburg, there are problems now. What's the bottom line of this crisis? What do you need to know? This isn't a one-day panic. It is a structural shock to refining of oil products in Russia. And now it has started leaking into daily lives: logistics, groceries, buses, farms. If strikes continue, and they will continue, and oil prices stay capped, more stations will go dark, the queues will grow longer, and survival mode will spread from those parts away from Moscow, far away from the center of Russia, to the very heart of it, to the Moscow. And when we will see shortages of fuel in Moscow, we will know this is the end. Because Moscow, compared with human's body, if you compare Russia and Moscow, Moscow is the brain. Okay, the human body always provides resources to the brain. Russia always provides resources to Moscow. So we're definitely watching for that. And that's not a theory. That's on the road to becoming the reality, and we're seeing the signs. Now, friends, thank you very much for joining me today. I would like to answer your questions for about 15-20 minutes. Let me turn the live stream chat on. What do you think of the message? Perhaps you want me to clear something up for you. I'm ready to answer any question you throw at me. The live stream chat is on. Please be nice to each other, stay civil, be polite and respectful. We have the best moderation team in the world at Inside Russia. Lorna, Mami K, Bob S, Harry Potman, Namir Fazad. They are making sure that this chat is civil and pleasant and nice. I am very glad to see everyone. Let me just open the live stream chat. Computer closer. If you want me to notice your message or question, please put it in all caps and put Inside Russia after @ so it's highlighted in orange. It's much easier for me to catch your comment or question. And if I don't answer, I don't skip it. It doesn't mean I don't like you and I ignore you. It just means I didn't see your question. Keep on posting, and sooner or later I run into it. So thank you, mods. Thank you, Lorna, Harry. I see you, the first ones, Bob. Fantastic to see everyone. Usual suspects. You're my heroes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for this community. You are part of it. So I'm going to jump straight to the comments and questions in caps and highlighted by orange boxes. Harry, thank you for highlighting Inside Russia. That's how it's done. Leitmotiv, howdy. Werner, always with good questions. Would China sell Russia gasoline? If so, maybe for a long-term lease of some oil fields in Siberia? Well, it's a question and a suggestion. Now, let's divide it into two parts. First is the question, would China sell Russia gasoline? China's been buying crude oil from Russia. It's Russia's number 2 customer, second largest customer. Will it sell gas or diesel? I don't think so. I haven't heard of one case of China supplying Russia with gas or fuel or diesel. In the future, is it possible? Well, possible. Probable? I don't think so. They would have to bypass Kazakhstan. There is no pipeline going into Russia, so they would have to use trucks and supply it by trucks, which is far from cheapest way of supplying gas. And it takes a long time from China to Russia to deliver to the European part of Russia. I mean, just look at the map and you'll see that the cost of delivering gasoline will be huge. Belarus is right next to Russia. It's in the west, central part of Russia to the west, and doesn't cost much to deliver it by trucks, but look at the delivery route from China. The second part of the question. If so, maybe for a long-term lease or some oil fields in Siberia. Well, I'm sure if China somehow helps Russia in any situation, I'm sure that they're not gonna do it for free. They're gonna take advantage of Russia at the fullest. Bob, thank you. Caps for question. That's right. Um, Sam the Legend K. Remember English only. Kamisanti, long time no see. It's fantastic to see you in a live stream. Winston von Toast. I pray for rosary for peace and prosperity for both Ukraine and Russia. That's very noble of you. Thank you very much. At the end, we're all human beings, and at the end, we're all children of God. Howdy, Didi Young. JM, a fantastic question. Why are you unmonetized on YouTube? Did you get any reason for that? Of course not. I did not get any official reason, except for YouTube refuses to remonetize me. Um, well, to monetize my new AdSense account that I created in the United States. This channel is as clean as it gets. There are no copyright strikes. There hasn't been any warnings or messages about my content because I try to keep everything safe. You know that. I've been doing it for 3.5 years. Now, my AdSense is as transparent and clean as it can be. Google refuses. My theory is that Google is working for Russia, at least not the Google, the company, but there are some people inside Google. And my theory has some proof. There were developments recently when someone from Google reached out, said, Konstantin, someone told us that you're not monetized. We checked your account, everything's fine. We're monetizing you again. And then this very same person 1 hour later got back to me saying, oh, well, wait a second. Someone contacted us and we're going to look at your account again. And then 3 days later, they said, oh, you know what, too risky. We're not going to monetize you. And so Russia is at me, pressuring me, beating me through Google. That's my theory, okay? Google just admitted they did a lot of wrong to different creators. And they're going to remonetize, restate the channels, and so forth. But now they're keeping silent about me. So this is why I'm unmonetized, and I didn't do anything wrong. So I just say the truth every single day. I guess Google doesn't like that. And I don't even criticize Google. I don't criticize YouTube. Actually, I'm very grateful to Google for giving me the voice, this stage, YouTube, because it's an awesome opportunity to reach out hundreds of thousands of people. Well, Shiva, sending my love to Belgium. Jodes, howdy. Noreen Power, how do you think Golem will react to the possibility of tomahawks? He doesn't like that. The Peskov came out, said, "Oh, that would be a very major, major conflict between Russia and the United States in that if tomahawks are delivered to Ukraine." So they're scared of that. Guy, the two countries recently found to have imported parts for refined repairs were Turkey and United Arab Emirates, but that stopped. Thank you so much. It's not the countries, it's the companies. Russians go to Turkey and to the Emirates, and they set up shell companies, and they use those shell companies to import whatever they need. That comes down to the manufacturers because they know exactly where they're shipping their orders to. Okay. So look at the shell companies, look at Turkey and the Emirates, but also go directly to the producers of the technology, the license owners, and talk to them. That's how it's done. Okay, that's the most effective way. MST, hi from Poland. Every time someone reaches out from Poland, warms my heart. Thank you so very much. Russian propaganda is making demons out of you, the Polish. I know it's not true, so thank you. What would the effect of fuel shortages be on the railway system? I'd say minimal because railway system is operated on electricity. Okay, not on diesel fuel. As far as I know, very few trains in Russia. Uh, all the trains that do the major freight hauling and the passengers, they're called magistralne, some like railroad highways basically, and that's electrified. So you won't see any mishaps because of diesel shortages. Bob S says, remember no US political topics. I think we're as far as from the US political topics as we can be right now. And don't think that anyone would bring anything with US politics to this live stream right now. But yeah, I second that. Please don't. Pavel Veselovsky, greetings from Czech Republic. What I just said about Poland also stands for Czech Republic, Czechia. My parents, mom and dad, lived for 10 years in Prague. They worked at the church, Baptist church, and my father was preaching. And so I have very good memories about Prague and Czech Republic in general. So thank you for coming. It would be interesting to find out how many percent are cut off at each oil company. You mentioned the big 25, but all the others would have been interesting. Uh, ZX, I'm not sure I understand the question. I think about a quarter of oil capacity refining has been taken offline. 25%. That's combined. Um, I think Russia. Oh, I gotta check. I think it has a little under 40 refineries, large and small, and 18 out of those 40 have been hit. So that's a lot. Again, not all refineries are offline; they're offline partially. Nick, thank you for coming and thank you for the nice words. Janine changed my channel name and picture. Hope everyone as well. Janine, good to see you. Long time no see. Thank you for coming. Nonya Ninja. Seems like that would drive prices up in China as well. We'll see. Russia still extracts and exports crude oil. That has nothing to do with refining. Crude oil has suffered a little bit, not much, just a little. I don't think that any exports to China have suffered. And if you're talking about if China sells oil refined products such as gasoline and diesel to Russia, yes, that would definitely bring the Chinese prices up. Carlos, one surprising thing is the incapacity of what used to be called second army in the world to deploy enough air defense systems to protect Russia's key industry. Well, they're protecting Putin well. They're protecting his friends, some oligarchs. Well, I guess that's what Russia is about, you know. That's the true faith of Russia, face of Russia. That's how much Russian state cares about people, about companies. I think at this point, oil companies would just go out and buy air defense systems and create their own personal militarized groups just to, um, create air defense around oil refineries. Well, I guess it cannot be done so easily and expensive. It doesn't matter. Oil companies have lots of money and they lose so much more than if they spend some on air defense. But it's just I don't know where they can go and buy air defense systems. Certainly not in Russian army. There's critical lack of air defense systems, and they cannot buy from abroad because the state does not allow that. So, but Carlos, that's I'm wondering that myself. Grim, what is your current prediction for Russia? If I would use one word, I would say this: grim. Janice, thank you for showing up. Uh, saying hello to you, sending love. Pamela, is there an app to tell which stations have gas, or is internet always down anyway? It's not always down, but it's down enough not to bother with an app. And I'm pretty sure that soon an app will not be needed because shortages will be everywhere. What they do an alternative, an easy alternative. They create a Telegram channel and they report just like inside Russia Telegram channel. It's free basically, so you can make posts there and makes like short reports. Oh, today October 7th, there's a gas station at this place at this price, and you can actually call gas stations. So you can monetize. I'm not sure how, but you probably can sell. Uh, oh, wait a second. Telegram is slowed down in Russia. It's banned. So anyway, there are alternatives, but let's leave to make them for Russians, you know. Pamela, you gotta understand, Russians, we in Russia lived very nice life before the war. We didn't need any apps to track where the gas and which gas station is. Uh, Trust me, I would pull in into any gas station. The price were, the same, give or take. Everywhere was decent gasoline or, diesel fuel if you needed it. Decent, good quality. That's the last thing I would worry about. Getting stuck without gas somewhere in Russia. That's crazy. It never happened to me. And now we're talking about Russians coming up with an app, mobile app, to track where they have gasoline. This is what I'm saying. Russians are paying the war bill. They're paying for attacking Ukraine. They're paying to what they've done to people, to the neighbor. And they're going to be paying it for generations, at least 2 generations. Grim, this is the answer to your question. Only, we're talking about just gas, but it's everything in every single part of life. Russia is falling apart. Now, please tune in to tomorrow. I have a pretty good economic review coming up. It's going to be a review of the previous week, economic news, what happened in Russia. There are more and more signs of the demise. It's getting worse and worse. So please check it out. Oh yeah, Albert Funk. Can a refinery be repaired with Mickey Mouse in repairs? Oh yes, and I think that's what they're doing. But you know what? The Mickey Mousing will backfire sooner or later. Oil refinery is a very serious facility, and then refining is a very serious and dangerous and risky process. You need to take care of things. You need to maintain. You need to have certain procedures, proper procedures in place. What choice do they have right now? I think half of what they repair, they Mickey Mouse. But you know what? Their refineries will start blowing up even without Ukrainian drones hitting them. Shiva, how come YouTube censors you if you put videos which can be seen in many other channels like Ukraine Today? And that's a good question. Well, this is the hard fact. I am demonetized. I'm not earning anything from Google from these videos, okay? The only money I have is PayPal, Patreon, and Buy Me Coffee. That's it, okay? Good question. How come others show pretty harsher stuff and I don't? And I'm demonetized and they are monetized. Nice, huh? Hell Porter is here. Good to see you. Cuz, Gloria, an Indian fighting for Russia was captured. It doesn't tell us much. I mean, they're probably Indians, French, Americans fighting for Russia. Hey, the son of former or current CIA deputy directors was fighting for Russia and he was killed, and Putin sent personal stuff to the, I think, current CIA deputy director, to honor the son who fell, like who was killed for Russia, fighting for Russia, and they gave the son the medal, a hero of Russia, post mortem, sent the medal to the CIA. This is crazy, okay? But it doesn't mean much. It's just different people make different choices, personal choices. We cannot judge the entire country, India, for one Indian captured fighting for Russia. JM, Finland and Sweden joined NATO after Russian attack on Ukraine. Well, I remember that. I reported extensively on that. What do you think about our security? Well, I think you did a great move. I think you are much more safer now than before. If NATO is worth anything these days, I don't know. I hope it is. Then you are protected by the Article 5. And Russia will think twice before messing with you. That's what I think. Golden Griffon, one of the original members of Inside Russia community. Thank you. Welcome. Good to see you. Fantastic to have you back. Okay, so now we're going to be wrapping up. Zach, Costa, do you have any comments on the situation in Georgia? Very complicated. I don't have at this point. I'm watching what's going on there. I went to Georgia to see things with my own eyes. Then I reported some experts who live in Georgia, who opinion I trust, contacted me saying that things are not as they seem. So very complicated. I'm not an expert, just a spectator, keeping my eyes open. When I have something to say, I will do so. Ronnie, do you think people will be walking to work soon? That's a good question. Some already walk to work in Russia. In one of the smaller cities, a big town in Russia, in the summer, in July, local administration canceled 30% of bus routes. Official reason? No money to pay for the subsidies. And the mayor of the town said, well, you know what? Russians have a right to walk to work. And they keep on walking. Now, how widespread is it? No, not so widespread. Just in some places in Russia. Rostov-Don, tune in tomorrow. I'm going to cover that crisis extensively. Okay, so some parts of Russia are already having trouble. Some people walk, or I don't know how they get. They certainly don't fly. Okay, probably they use scooters or bikes. Um, and this is worsening. The situation is getting out of control. It's getting worse. So, yes. Friends, thank you so very much. I invite everyone to join me in prayer. That's what we do every at the end of every live stream. We pray together. Thank you so much. There are 3,700 people watching us right now. If you're religious, please join us. If you're not, please join us anyway. Do me a favor. Repay me for my efforts with a prayer along with us. And if you're not religious, you can don't have to call it the prayer. Call it sending good vibes to people, sending good wishes to people, asking universe. You know, to me, it's the same. So let's all pray together. Thank you. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, thank you so much for this day that you've given us. Thank you for the food you've placed on our tables and for the roofs you've put over our heads. Thank you for the love you've brought into our lives. Thank you for our families, and please give us wisdom to raise our children in the way that they will never fight in any wars when they grow up. And when they become adults, they will make this world a better place. Please give us wisdom to keep the skies above our children's heads safe and peaceful. And please keep our children healthy and safe for now. I am asking for Ukraine. Dear Lord, please help stop the bloodshed that is happening in the country. I'm asking you to reach out to those monsters who have started the war, who can make the decision to stop it, and remind them that they are still human beings. Please touch their hearts with your love so they wake up from their lethargic sleep and make the decision to stop the bloodshed. Please help every single Ukrainian who has been affected by the terrible tragedy answer their prayers and make their wishes come true. And I'm also asking for my country, Russia, who has been overrun by the demons who we know by their names and by their faces. Please assemble your strongest angels with sharpest swords and have Saint Michael in shining armors come down to this earth to get rid of the demons and send them to where they belong. Please send your strong angels to help Russians to run their country in a way that it becomes loving, respecting, decent, and peaceful. Dear Lord, I'm asking you to help all those who are traveling, send them safe travels. Help those who are in danger of any kind. Help those who are seeking for asylum of any kind, running away from evil. Please help single mothers and fathers who are struggling raising their children, trying to make ends meet. Please help those who are helping Ukrainians and help Ukrainians, those Ukrainians who are currently under the attacks from Russian weapons. Please keep everyone safe. I am asking you to help those who are needy, who are cold, hungry, sick, addicted, homeless, jobless, crying, feeling betrayed, going through divorce, not able to see their children as much as they want to, um, don't have money to buy food, feeling like their hearts are bleeding, hurt, losing their faith. Please help everyone who is feeling miserable right now, who's feeling depressed. Reach out and touch the hearts of those who need your help. Remind them that you are still with them, you still love them, you still watch every step they take. Give them hope and bring smiles to their faces. Thank you. I am thanking you for this prayer, for so many people praying along with me or simply watching us pray. There are 3,500 people. Thank you, dear Lord. And I'm asking to answer everyone's prayer who is praying right now and make everyone's wish come true. I have a few people who need your help, and I'm asking you to help them. They are Tony, who is going through recovery after his surgery. Please send speedy recovery and send strength to the family. I am asking to help Larry Barth, who is recovering after coma. Thank you for sending your love to him. Please send speedy recovery and help his family, send strength. Please help TMBC, Uli Yun, Victor Garishan, Rod, Lee and Brenda, Rose Bronicky, Teresa D, Ron Bazoid, Jeffrey S and his family, Anne, Hannah, Katharina, Mark, Tom W, JR McKim, Gabing with Gary, Lisa, Harry, Golden Griffon, Terry, John, Linda, Paula W, Dennis, Jason, Susie, Tim, Dory, Rhonda, John, Taylor, Wayne, Darla, George, Ruberty, Pamela, Meta, David Porter, and everyone who is in Chernovtsi, Ukraine, Leif, Randolph, Grace, Dean Spooner and his church, Yelena, Natalia, Michael, Dasha, Oля, Sky, Jake, Svetlana, Sergey and Sergey, Liz, Ron, Liz, Koshkin Dom, Sandra, Petra, Mike and Mike, Millie, Jodes Rames, Philip Radcliffe, Highwayman, Janice, Jeff Gibson, Derek Martinez, Denise Abbott, and Renate. Thank you, dear Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Friends, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for giving me a chance to deliver this message. I hope you liked it. You found it interesting, useful. Please keep on coming back. I have lots of other interesting messages. Tomorrow, my weekly update of Russian economy. I call it Wednesday Economy Review. I have plenty of exclusive and interesting information of what's happening in Russia right now. So please come check it out. And I would like to remind you that you are absolutely awesome and you rock. And I would like to ask you to finish this live stream, as usual, with the following saying out loud. Please say as loud as you can after me. Carthago delenda est.